Welcome to Help Me Rhonda podcast season 3, where your host Rhonda Hale answers your questions on the topics of the afterlife, the paranormal, the spirit world, past lives, QHHT and everything in between. Rhonda is a natural psychic medium, clinical hypnotherapist and level 2 practitioner in QHHT quantum healing hypnotherapy as developed by Dolores Cannon. Rhonda has lived most of her life in America and now lives in Ireland. She is featured in an ongoing documentary series, The American Medium, on Paranormal Resident channel on YouTube, where she is filmed connecting with spirit to tell their stories at ancient historical locations all over Europe. Here is your host, Rhonda Hale.
Hi everybody, so glad to be back. I am really excited about this question. I've been getting tremendously deep and wonderful questions. It has been a little minute since I have recorded my most recent podcast episode because I am kind of calibrating and finding my feet since I've relocated to Europe permanently and adjusting my sails, if you will. And I'm finding things to really fall in place. And with that, it took a bit of my attention. So I wasn't able to stop and do podcast episodes like I really wanted to, but the questions kept coming in and I do have a long list of them. This one really popped out for me. Here's the question. Do souls maintain the same personality traits after having gone into the light and then going into their next human experience, whether they be male or female? So I think that's a really, really good question. Through my communication with spirit as a psychic medium, I have the ability to hang out with the spirits that come and go, who I work with, say a grandmother that's passed on, or a mother, or an uncle, and I kind of hang out with them, and I have all of these questions. So I've been very fortunate to be able to ask them really deep questions, and that is where I get my answers. Also, I have got quite a few answers through my work as a QHHT hypnotherapist. QHHT is a whole different level of hypnosis. It contacts your subconscious. It connects you with your custodians. I am going to actually, my very next podcast episode is going to be regarding that, because a lot of people have questions. What are custodians? And what is QHHT? I'm going to go into that later. But that is the premise of where I get my answers and my information. So in answer to this question, which has been asked me many times, do souls maintain the same personality traits after passing away from this life experience and going into your next life experience, whether you're a male or female in the next life, or where male and female coming from? Yes, the answer is yes. As we pass through the different life experiences in this human experience here on Earth School, we emerge after having mapped out our Akashic records before beginning the whole series of life cycles that we're going to take in order to accomplish our lessons and our growth. We enter into our very first existence in the human form with certain personality traits. We all have various personality traits. Not all of us have the same. Some people are more stubborn than others. Some people jump into things quickly. Some people are very hesitant. Some people have difficulty making decisions. Some people have a more, I don't want to say aggressive, but maybe a more forward personality where they're a bit more defensive, possibly. Some people have struggle a little bit more with being able to advocate for themselves, finding their voice. Now, all of these traits that we have as human beings are not flaws. These were initially determined before we entered our very, very first human experience. We gather with our soul group, our soul family. And there's usually a sage, somebody who I've been to the Hall of Records many times through hypnosis myself, being the person who was hypnotized. My daughter is also a QHHT hypnotherapist. And I've been there many times through that. Also as a psychic medium, I'm able to see it. It looks to me kind of like you'd imagine a big open forum, Roman columns, building, like open sky, building open air, with these massive, huge, like standing height marble tables. And they roll out these scrolls, and before they determine what the life path, the journey, the difficulties on the next life that they're going to, adopt. First, they determine what are going to be the challenges that we have to work on, to polish, graduate from, improve, get past, basically. And all of us are going to begin with we all have our own personalities. We aren't these cardboard, transparent figures when we're in spirit. We have the same personality. Everybody has a different personality, even in spirit. So you're going to, maybe for me, I'll use myself as an example. Some of my personality traits that have been a struggle with me in this particular life, depending on the stages of and growth of my life, beginning out with personal, you'd never believe this now, but I struggled with being very, very timid and being able to advocate for myself and finding my voice and believing in myself and feeling very petrified and insecure. But also another side of me was I've always been a kind of a bubbly person. I have my good times and bad times, obviously, but I tend to be a little bit more optimistic in nature from the very beginning of my life to present. Doesn't mean I don't get angry or upset or things don't get to me, but I tend to get over them a little bit faster. It's difficult for me to hold a grudge. Little things like that about me. So those will always and always have been a part of who I am in any earthly life experience, any earthly human experience, any past life that I have gone through. I've always had these same aspects to my personality, whether I was a man, whether I was a man in one life and then came back as a woman, or whether I was a woman and then came back as a man. And we all, experience male and female life. We all experience dying young as a child. We all experience living a full life and dying at the end. We all experience terminal illness. We all experience losing someone to terminal illness. We all experience being oppressed. We all experience being tempted with being the oppressor. So all of these are different aspects that we're able to grow on, but inherently we all have the same personality traits that are with you right now. And you can sometimes easily know what those personality traits are if you're really, really honest with yourself, or if you have someone in your life, they can very happily share that with you. Out of frustration, aggravation, or whatever. But that is the answer to that question. And wow, that was a really, really, really good question. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer, please contact me on Instagram, on YouTube, send me a message. You can email me directly. There should be a link in my bio of where you can email me at info@rhondahale.com. If you're interested in any of my services as a hypnotherapist, QHHT, any psychic medium or guidance or grief therapy that you would like to connect with me on, visit my website, email me directly. There are prices listed on my website, but I want you to disregard the prices. I do work 100% on donation only, and not everybody will be able to afford my going rate. I don't want to tell anybody no. So if people truly need help, rest assured you can get help from me. I will not tell you no. So it will be to what you can afford, and I want to make sure that you don't feel like you can't. If you really, really want to work with me, you can. All right. Everybody, you have a great rest of your day or your evening. Thank you so much for listening. And I will be recording my next podcast very, very soon. Thank you so much for listening. Hey, and if you have a chance or if you feel like it, please feel free to leave some feedback. Give me some stars. Leave some feedback on how the podcast, how you relate to the podcast. Leave some feedback. It really, really helps because it gives me some momentum and might reach out through the algorithm to grab other people or suggest other people who may not know about my podcast, but would be able to get some benefit, help, or encouragement from it. And that is my absolute goal. So much love and light, and until next time.